All right, so we're back and ready for another deep dive.
I'm ready.
This time we're going to be talking about...
I'm excited for this one.
Oh, yeah, this was going to be good.
Uh-huh.
We're talking about Bayern Munich and RB Leipzig.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously
Yeah.
a Bundesliga match.
Big game.
And this was a wild one.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Bayern Munich won.
Yeah, they did.
They beat RB Leipzig, but that's not the whole story.
Not even close.
So we're going to be digging into some of the interesting things that happened in this game.
So much to talk about.
Just to give you a little bit of a taste of just how crazy this match was.
Okay, I'm listening.
2 goals in the first 2 minutes.
Oh, wow.
First time in Bundesliga history.
Really?
Ever.
Wow. Okay.
That's insane.
So right off the bat, we're talking about a pretty historic match.
Yeah, I mean, imagine being a fan at this game. You sit
Yeah,
down, you're like,
sure.
all right, let's see what happens.
Maybe you haven't even gotten your drink yet.
Yeah, and boom, goal.
Wow. And then another one.
Another one right away.
I would have loved to see the energy in that stadium.
Oh, it must have been electric.
Yeah.
So before we get into like the later parts of the game,
Okay.
let's rewind back to those first couple minutes.
Yeah, let's break down those early goals.
We had Musiala scoring for Bayern.
He's such a talented young player.
Oh, for sure. And then Chico for Leipzig.
I've been keeping an eye on him. He's got a lot of potential.
Yeah, he does.
What?
So right away, like, what do you think is going through each team's mind after you get scored on in the first minute?
Well, I imagine for Bayern, it was like, okay, no problem, we can get this back. I mean, they're Bayern Munich, they're used to being in control.
Right.
But for Leipzig, you almost have to think there's this sense of, whoa, we actually did it. We got one past them.
Maybe we can actually win this thing.
Right, exactly. There's this belief, maybe a little bit of shock, but definitely a belief that they can hang with the big dogs.
Totally. And we know that after that, the game just continues at this breakneck pace.
Oh, yeah, chances galore, near misses. It was nonstop.
It's like they both got that taste of scoring early and just kept pushing.
For sure. It set the tone for the entire match. It was like both teams decided to throw the script out the window and just go for it.
I love that. All right, so we have this crazy start,
Buckle up.
but then things start to shift a little bit.
Right. After that initial chaos, Bayern starts to settle in.
Yeah, you can just see them like take a breath and be like, all right, let's do what we do.
And Leipzig, maybe that early energy starts to fade just a little.
A little bit. And I think this is where the game really starts to tell the story of like who these two teams are right now.
I think you're right. Let's dig into that a bit.
So one of the big moments was that second goal for Bayern.
The one from Elise.
Yes.
Beautiful goal.
But the really interesting part was the assist came from Lamer.
Ah, yes, Lamer. Now, he actually transferred from Leipzig to Bayern this season.
That's right. So he scores against his former team, and he was also on a bit of a goal drought.
He was. It had been quite a while since he'd found the back of the net.
So what do you make of that? Do you think there was an extra layer of motivation there? Scoring against your old team?
Oh, I absolutely think so. There's always a little something extra when you're playing against the club you used to be a part of.
It's like, hey, look what you're missing.
Exactly. It's hard not to think that wasn't going through his mind.
Yeah, it must have been a really satisfying moment for him. But beyond just Lamer ending his goalless streak, what did that goal do for Bayern?
I think it shifted the momentum for good. It wasn't just about getting a 2-goal lead. It was about taking control of the game.
You could feel it, right? Like Bayern realized they were the better team and started playing like it.
Exactly. They were dictating the pace, controlling possession, and making Leipzig chase the game.
And then to just add insult to injury, Kimmich scores this insane long-range goal.
Oh, man, that goal was something else. You could see the frustration building on the Leipzig side.
Yeah, they had a couple of really good chances early on, and they didn't capitalize on them.
And that's the thing about a team like Bayern. They punish you for those missed opportunities.
Absolutely. So let's talk about the second half.
What stood out to you about the second half?
Well, even though Bayern was clearly in control,
They were.
both teams still had their chances.
Oh, yeah.
But I felt like every time Leipzig had a sniff at goal, Bayern just shut it down.
They did. They were so disciplined at the back.
And on the flip side, even when Bayern missed their chances, it didn't feel like it mattered.
Because they knew they'd get another one.
Exactly. It was just this feeling of inevitability.
It was like they were playing with this quiet confidence, this knowledge that they were going to win no matter what.
Yeah, and you mentioned frustration building on the Leipzig side.
Yeah, definitely.
Was there any specific moment where that frustration boiled over?
Well, there was Henrichs' challenge on Kimmich.
Oh, yeah, that was a rough one.
You could sense the tension rising after that.
Yeah.
And then Openda and Nusa both had great opportunities to get Leipzig back in the game.
Right.
But they couldn't convert. And I think that's where the mental side of the game really comes into play.
Like the pressure just got to be too much?
Exactly. When you're constantly chasing the game and those chances don't go in, it can really wear you down.
So as we get towards the end of the game, Bayern really starts to turn on the style.
Oh, yeah, they turned it into a rout.
Sané with a goal.
Assisted by Davies.
After this incredible counterattack.
And then the own goal from Davies.
I mean, even their own goals are exciting.
It's true. I mean, talk about a team that's firing on all cylinders. They're scoring for both sides.
It's almost like it doesn't even matter who puts the ball in the net.
As long as it ends up there.
Right. So let's talk big picture now.
Okay, what are your thoughts?
What does this win mean for Bayern Munich?
Well, it extends their home unbeaten streak to 9 games.
9 games.
9 games. They're a force at home. It also puts them even further ahead at the top of the table.
Yeah, it's starting to feel like the Bundesliga title is theirs to lose at this point.
It's hard to argue with that. I mean, they're playing with so much confidence and consistency.
And they're just so deep. I mean, even with key players missing, they can still put out a world-class team.
That's the sign of a true champion. The ability to win even when you're not at your absolute best.
Okay, so Bayern looks amazing.
They do.
What about Leipzig, though? Where do they go from here?
That's the big question. This loss puts a lot of pressure on them, especially after their last 2 wins. It feels like a step back.
Especially for their manager, Marco Rose.
Yeah, he's going to be facing some tough questions after this one.
Can they bounce back from this?
They've got the talent, but they need to find a way to regain that confidence they had earlier in the season.
And they also have to deal with Henrik's injury.
Right, that happened in stoppage time. It's never good to see a player go down.
It adds another layer of difficulty to their situation.
Absolutely. They're going to need to dig deep if they want to stay in the title race.
All right, well, it seems like we've got a very interesting Bundesliga season on our hands.
Oh, for sure. It's going to be fascinating to see how things play out.
Bayern is looking dominant, but Leipzig can't be counted out just yet.
And let's not forget about the other teams in the league. There's still a lot of football to be played.
That's true. Anything can happen. This deep dive has given me a lot to think about.
Me too.
And I hope it's done the same for you. Thanks for listening.
Thanks, everyone.